interesting, right? But Evelyn will be locked in by the side of BRU. OMG goes for the Ornn and the Zoe, but BRU answers with the Yasuo. This has been one of the counters as well to the Ornn and Zoe coming into the first couple of weeks. Just because of the wind wall. It's just so massive to deny a big ultimate with just the wind wall.
Yeah, I like that. I really like that pick. Most likely going to be going to Cold and Feet himself. Because I don't see Thipper picking up the Yasuo here against, you know, blind picking him in the Baron lane. So we do see some more bans coming up onto the Baron lane. No Fiora, no Jax. The Renekton still up, of course. But the Grog is getting taken out here because that is one of the nasty activators for Yasuo's last breath there. Renekton getting banned out as well. I really quite like this. As you said, yes, the wind wall is a huge factor, but just Yasuo's style and the way that he can take over games if he's played well, it's something that I think BRU are going to be really relying on here. With a Braum and possibly Lucian in the Dragon lane, that's a really strong classic combination. Lucian dash into the blows from Braum. The passive stacks are just easy to trigger with that Lucian passive as well. So that's something that BRU can use in the early game to get a little bit of aggression going, especially against a Zoe.
And I like how you mentioned about the Braum passive, because the concussive blows, this will be easier proc by Lucian with the passive, as you've mentioned, coming into the early game. But also, in addition to that layer of why I love the Braum, is because there's a lot of bruisers for the side of OMG. You have Ornn, you have Garen, you have Aatrox into the front line, so it's easier to connect onto these champions. But as we have always seen to the likes of BRU, and even in game number 1, when they brought the Braum, or well, rather, a utility bottom laner coming into their side, they're doing it once again with Morgana going on to Triple V.
Okay. So this is a lot of support in the late game for BRU, but once again they are just running a very squishy team comp overall. Just really the Braum is the one that's going to be tanking a lot, and I wonder if that's going to be enough for BRU here, specifically because they are going to be up against a Zoe, a Garen in the top lane, so that is going to be a little bit of a difficult lane for Yasuo to really dominate, because it is going to be Thipper on that Yasuo, and yeah, it is just BRU having an incredibly aggressive composition, and OMG just kind of, I don't know if they were mind gamed, or if they're just kind of reacting to that kind of composition. So there's a lot of question marks in this game for BRU and for Oh My God. But what's something that is definite is that BRU are not holding anything back. They're pulling out all the stops in this match.
Yeah, they're not holding back. I mean, bringing out the Yasuo into the game. You also have the Morgana into a matchup. Evelyn's one of the expectation already. Evelyn's really strong regardless, like how much he's capable onto rotating around the map. The macro plays, especially on the hands of Valdas, being one of the greatest junglers in Southeast Asia in year 1 of Wild Rift Esports. Very strong. But the thing about Valdas is that consistently what he does is he waits towards the top side of the map. He wants Thipper to have an easier time up against the opposing Baron laner, and that is the reason why he starts up onto the Grumps, or rather the Krugs, onto the top quadrant jungle. So if ever a fight breaks loose, especially given how Yasuo is just really weak coming into the early game, he could easily respond. And this is already one of the expectations. But now that Evelyn's coming into the red camps, you can now predict that he goes in for the full jungle camps here, full clear, reach level 5 before he rotates.
Yeah, and what I'm seeing is that this bot lane for BRU is going to be a lot more passive than initially we thought, because when we thought it was going to be a Lucian. So that does mean that VVV is going to be taking a lot of damage, but Thipper taking a lot of damage there as well, going to get ticked down. Oh, the shield, the flow shield popping and saving it from the final tick of the Ignite. White Cat as well, not able to get that final auto attack off, and that will be a little bit of a scuffle there in the top lane, and that could be a little bit of a problem there with that pause coming through right now.
I don't know.
Feelings. And if you can...
Alright, and there we are. We've solved all of the problems with Inyan. Hopefully, we do get a smooth game now, as we are back into it, ladies and gents. Thank you for your patience. And we can see White Cat dominating Thipper in that early game.
And as we've mentioned, right, Thipper didn't just go for an overextension, because White Cat could just go move one, just turn around, and there's just so big of a damage. It's just level 3, even level 4, it is White Cat who will have the advantage, considering that this is a Yasuo that we're talking about on top side of the map here. But right now, Valdez nearing that level 5 that we mentioned. It's all about that farm game. Goes in for the reset for now, but after he comes back, that will be the expectations of visiting those lanes, visiting onto these teammates and make plays happen.
Yeah. And just so you guys know, I was spreading a little bit of misinformation earlier. Thanks for the correction, Infinity. Evelyn has been picked quite a bit. It just wasn't picked last week, and I was misunderstanding the stats we saw at the start of the stream. So that is a huge, my bad moment. But you know, she just wasn't picked whenever I was casting. So I guess I was just unlucky to not witness her. But well, I want to see if Valdez can make her great.
Lucky or unlucky, right? Because the thing is,
that's true.
If Evelyn is brought into a game that's just so big and so massive when it comes to these team fights because of the assassination prowess, and we've seen Thipper played the Akali, right, a while ago, and how it's so good.
Speaking of Valdez, there is the big gank onto White Cat. Can they actually finish this off? He actually misses the ultimate, unfortunately. So White Cat is able to live, and now it's Valdez who is behind enemy lines, going to get immediately first blooded by Inyan. So unlucky that gank happened that way, and the ultimate did not land. So let's take a look at that again.
Yeah, we're just talking about luck and unluckiness. Once again, Garen's defensive capability is massive, and diving under a turn when you're battling up against Garen is not exactly what you want to do.
Definitely not, especially since there was a big Aatrox coming up behind the entire time. So that was just something that you did not want to be competing with on the side of BRU. So yeah, getting caught out there is a little bit unfortunate, but that shouldn't delay BRU all too much, especially since they do have a very defensive kind of mid to late game later on.
Yeah, mid to late game thus far. That will be where BRU would shine. But these early games is not something that BRU wants to overextend. And if ever Valdez wants to pay a visit into someplace else, that could be the bot side of the map, or that could be the mid lane. And yes, Zoe is a much harder target, so bottom lane is a better place for Valdez to be able to really just put out and dish out team fights and kills. But it's just too unfortunate what happened there a while ago. And once again, BRU always does this, and Valdez always has this idea, right? Because he wants to really just alleviate some of the pressure that Thipper is having up against his opposition onto the Baron lane, but not up against Garen. It just can't happen.
Garen is just one of those champions that can stay in lane pretty much indefinitely if given the chance. So, you know, picking a Yasuo up against that Garen, something that may not have been the best idea if they wanted to go for some early kills, but it's still possible for, you know, for Valdez to go for something, especially since he has eyes on Inyan right now doing this Rift Herald. Wahua is there now. Valdez has been revealed, and they know he's inside the pit. They're going to maybe try to go for something. There's the Call of the Forge God. There's the Black Shield off the Valdez, so he won't get knocked up. It will be an out for Jess, but look at that spread onto Valdez. He's already down to like 20%, as the Rift Herald will be the only casualty of that fight so far. BRU had to be on the back foot for that.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate. Right now, we're seeing the advantage that OMG has when it comes to these all-bruiser type of composition. Not all-bruiser, but a 3-bruiser composition wherein they have so much heftiness into their front lines and sustainability as well in and of itself, and BRU needs a little bit more time to be able to ramp up. This is the cost of having the likes of Morgana, having the likes of a lot of utilities coming into your composition and not those early game powers.
Yeah, And you can see Whitecat resisting that last breath. Fipper even landing everything he can. Did not really do enough to get the kill onto there. And look at the damage already onto what the Jester. There's the Trouble Bubble and the Paddle Star to finish it off. SMK with the Zoe looking for one more kill. The Paddle Star and the auto attack will give 2 kills over to the mid laner of OMG.
Oh, that's really unfortunate. OMG is just getting all these early games. BRU's now going for a little bit more towards those overextensions. Valdez not being chased out.
Speaking of overextension, Inyan might be overextending here. Has been
nice
just just stunned up, but there's not really all too much damage coming in, as well as the Call of Forge God to get his exit secured. Wahwa really being the homie there, the support of ages, but still Fipper trying to 1v1 Whitecat, and all Whitecat has to do is run away.
The problem now that BRU has to face is how are they going to melt the likes of Ornn? How are they going to melt the likes of Aatrox 15?
Great calling out the 15. Did not get to secure the kill yet. Inyan coming in really quickly there. The Glacial Fissure will dissuade Wahwa from coming in. Inyan, though, had a really easy escape route out from the river into his own jungle, so BRU can't really find anything at the moment, and OMG are in a pretty good spot.
Right, and once again, the big problem of BRU now, yes, I commended their composition of how they went in for the Yasuo and the Morgana, but the cost of having this type of composition is how are you going to melt the likes of the Ornn? How are you going to melt the likes of Garen and even the Aatrox as well? Because it will only be Lucian, and if Lucian is gapped towards his opposition,
Valdez has been found out, has to use his ultimate to get away as Foot and Feet comes in for the assist, but Valdez has to get out of this fight. But he gets Battle Starred, immediately assassinated by SMK, and the Lucian as well had no chance right there. What the Jess left to be the sacrificial lamb, that's a 3 for nothing. OMG extending their lead some more.
Once again, this is really unfortunate because the thing is, Valdez and Cold and Feet will be their dependency, and how Valdez and Cold and Feet has been consistently is on the back foot, is on the bitter end of those engages. Valdez is what now? 0-2, 0-3? What is Cold and Feet? 0-2, 0-3 as well? Like, there's just so much detriment coming into the dependencies of BRU, wherein Lucian will be the only one that can have the possibility of melting down the likes of Aatrox, Garen, and Ornn. And Valdez is the dependency when it comes to hunting down SMK and Zeri. These champions are being broken down like flies.
It is not looking all too good for BRU, because you are right, they are getting broken down left. Oh my god, that burst from SMK is already online. Really nothing that BRU can do about it. That is a great win wall onto Wawa, but Fipper is still behind enemy lines. Even with Whitecat there, you know, Huahua is just going to keep him locked down for SMK to come in, and that is going to be no more life there for Fipper.
There's so much overextension happening currently for the likes of BRU. Valdez overextended a while ago. Now Yasuo overextended as well. What's happening when it comes to these plays? And this is not what we have expected BRU United to play out when it comes to these game number 2. It was an expectation that they have to play it a little bit more safely, and they have to play it a bit more towards that late game. But just look at this. There's no more tier 1 coming in top side in the map, so expectedly there is no more of that safety net just for that overextension, going in for that free farm, and they consistently do it still.
Yeah, I mean, why are you just overextending when you know that you are on the back foot? I don't know if Virium is just, you know, risking for the biscuit. They're always, you know, trying to get something done just so they can, you know, kind of claw back this game, but it just is not working in their favor at the moment, because OMG is so far ahead and they have so much burst with that Zoe and with the jungler as well. Fipper once again doing the exact thing that we've been saying, just overextending and getting caught out. 15 and Inyan are not even gonna sweat killing him.
Like, he did it once, he did it twice. This can't be
and Whitecat now in a little bit of a pickle, but that should be fine, because there is He's still just going to find the Braum, execute him. It's a 1-for-1 trade up here. But now OMG, they have found the rest of their members. They're going to look for more here against BRU. The Drake will be taken right there by Inyan. As Val is looking to try to get SMK, he will finally get the assassination onto somebody. The Zoe goes down. Wahoa, the last man left there, but it's still more than enough to keep this tower going. That is the first 2 kills that BRU have seen all game.
15 going to the back will be coming into fray, but not gonna go in for the all-in engage. Inyan versus Tipper.
Yeah, as there is going to be the last breath onto Inyan. Tipper does a lot of damage, but Inyan is able to get out of there just very easily, very quickly. OMG, once again, secure another objective.
Yeah, and right now, it's just a difficult time for BRU. The only detriment to their lineup is coming into these early games. They have nothing in the early game. The huge dependency would be the Golden Feet and Valdez as well with the Evelyn that could play for gank, but Valdez played so much on top side of the map and they overextended too much as well. Fed the Aatrox, fed the likes of Garen. So it will be a hard time now.
It is so difficult for BRU to actually... yeah, Tipper just not able to resist Whitecap at all, even in the 1v1. The Garen just does a lot of damage, and the Yasuo is not tanky enough to really be able to handle it. So now it's gonna be the chase coming in from OMG. What the Jess with a Glacial Fissure to delay them, but SMK is just too fed. He does so much damage, and then there's another catch onto the Braum. Unfortunately, there will be no living here for What the Jess. What the heck is more like it, as he says, as he falls down, and the Baron is the target here for OMG.
Well, you know what? 0-10 power spike, we're back at it again.
Yeah, the classic Yasuo.
The classic, and Valdez hoping for that steal as well with the last caress, but not gonna be enough.
Not quite. It's gonna be the Zoe.
So close yet so far, but nevertheless, OMG now just capitalizing on their advantage. They have every single advantage towards their side. Every single lane is in favor of OMG, and I just can't deny the fact that, you know what, there's nothing that BRU can do right now to be able to stop this up until coming into 20 minutes into the game wherein they're able to free farm, and that is if they're able to farm.
That's a big if, because right now it doesn't look like BRU is even safe in their own jungle. Tipper, you can see he is trying to farm. Wahala is there. He knows where these members of BRU are and where they want to be. So I can't see BRU, you know, even scaling up to the point where they can actually take fights here versus OMG.
It is. And right now, what they could do, because the Baron already being utilized, takes all tier 2 turrets, inhibitor turrets are left. Now, and it's the same position that OMG was coming into game 1 that is currently towards the side of BRU now. They have to think about the draft. They have to reallocate what they're gonna do when it comes to their composition, because this far it's not working.
This is just not it for BRU. I mean, they took a huge risk. And it's not paying off as well as it did in the last game that we saw. There's a call to Forge God to isolate Tipper down. Inyan just effortlessly beams him, as What the Jess is now trying to get away along with Valdez, but no, they're just going to get immediately bursted down. SMK and Inyan are just way too powerful, and Golden Feet just immediately gets deleted, and that is going to be Nexus broken down even through the shielding. BRU taken down immediately by OMG.
Very anticlimactic. That ender was a little bit